What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Just finished my second week of college. Yes, I'm back in college. If you're wondering why the uploads are not daily or as often as they used to be, that is because I am taking a full-time college schedule and I'm also working part-time. So just bear with me, guys. I'm still going to try to put out as much content as possible during this time period, but I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to reflect on what I've observed on campus, because this is my first time back on campus since they started handing out the little jibber jabber, and it's my first time on campus since the whole bug, if you know what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of things that I noticed and I wanted to share them with you guys. Those of you guys that are in college can probably relate to this just as much as I did, because it was a big shock to me going back to campus after taking a full year off or 2 semesters off of school. There was a lot of change on campus. For some of you guys out there, this is probably not a shock to you, especially if you're around my age range of 22 to 23 years old. This is probably not a shock to you. But it is a shock to me because I've taken a year off, and just noticing the difference in human interaction on campus and just the differences between men and women nowadays is pretty significant. All right, so with no further ado, let's talk about the things I've noticed. So the first observation I made is there is a strict segregation between men and women on campus. Men and women on campus nowadays usually do not collaborate, do not come together, and do not interact with each other outside of the classroom. And even inside the classroom, there's noticeably like groups of guys, effeminate guys, asexual guys, straight guys, usually like 1 or 2, honestly, nowadays. I'm in California, so that might be different where you are. And then girls are just always like together, interacting with each other. It's like the guys are kind of like on their own little islands, and most guys are extremely socially awkward and uncomfortable. It's really hard to network nowadays with a lot of people, especially with the masks that we're wearing, especially with the time off that we've had due to the bug. It just seems like there is just even more of a divide between men and women on campus. I've also observed how women interact with effeminate men and homosexual men, but they tend to avoid straight men or men that usually have masculine qualities about themselves. There's a big sense of entitlement for a lot of these women in the classroom. They kind of look down upon men. You know, they're actually, in my opinion, what I've noticed, they're avoiding men at all costs for the most part. Like, if you guys aren't forced to interact in some sort of group activity, collaboration, or some sort of group project, they will never even talk to you. They don't look at you. They don't acknowledge you. If you do interact with them, it's very minimal eye contact. They kind of look at you like. And what's crazy is a lot of this stuff didn't start happening until after the beer bug. And like, it's almost like now their entitlement, because of being on their phone and being on social media and having all these simps try to pander to them while everything's shut down, it seems like their entitlement, their egos are just way up here now that they're back in campus and in person. And we're about to talk about this because it leads into my next point, which is the majority of women nowadays are wearing skin tight clothes that accentuates every part of their body, especially their booty. Okay, guys? I don't know how many times I've gone about campus, or I've gone to a bowling alley with my friends. I've gone out and about just walking around, and I've seen women wear the tightest fitting jeans, the tightest pulled up yoga pants, you name it. They're wearing tight clothes wherever you go, mini skirts, shorts that they pull up so their cheeks are hanging out at the bottom. But then these women get mad if a man talks to them and if a man approaches them. But I want you guys, just next time you go out, you've probably already noticed this, but the majority of women, all right? The majority of women, and I really, when I was typing down these notes, when I was thinking about everything, I was sitting down in a public place, all right? And I noticed while I was typing this, I was like, there's no way it's all women. But honestly, guys, in the setting I've been at, every time I've typed up notes before doing this video, and while putting this video together and thinking about what I'm gonna talk about, every woman in that setting has had skin tight clothes, jeans pulled up. It's like every woman has accentuated their butt in some type of way nowadays. The third observation I've made since being back on campus is there's little to no communication whatsoever. Just inside the classroom, outside the classroom, walking around at the gym, whatever. You don't even see people networking like they used to. You don't see people really having a good time, really smiling. It almost seems like these things that we put over our face have completely destroyed human interaction in ways that's extremely detrimental to humans and our interaction as a species. It seems as though people just walk around, and if you're an introvert already, you know, you're definitely not going to talk with one of these around your face. And it's just like, almost seems like everyone has kind of become an introvert. Everyone's kind of to themselves, looking at their phones. you really don't see people networking like they used to. I remember my first 2 years of college, people would walk around in groups and talk. And it seemed like after class, people could hang out and interact with each other. It wasn't like as soon as class got out, everyone just puts their head down and goes their own way and does their own thing. But nowadays, it seems like everyone just has their mask on the whole time in class. And then once class is over, they get out of class and they're quick to just put their head down with their mask on and just do their own thing. There's no networking going on. There's no social interactions, no communications. And this is going to be, I'm a little bit nervous for the future with all of this because a lot of people are lacking social skills. A lot of people are going to go into the real world with not a lot of social communication, all right? The only place they're really communicating is on their social medias and on their cell phones. It's crazy that we live in a real world right here, but at the same time, we see all these people walking around living in a social world on their phone rather than living an actual existence. And I really noticed this picking up ever since this whole beer bug thing. The fourth observation I noticed is 99% of men are beta males. It seems like every guy nowadays is effeminate in some sort of way, all right? Or at least there's like 1 out of 10 that isn't. But I'd say 9 out of 10 guys wear skinny jeans, wear tight clothes, just look like effeminate in their mannerisms and their interactions with women and with men. They speak in a very high-pitched voice. They could swing both ways. You don't really know which side this dude's on, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I just noticed there's been a rampant, like, ever since this is going on with the whole, there's been just a uptick in a lot of that behavior. And it might have to do with social communications, just us being shut down for so long and all of that. But a lot of young college kids nowadays are really, really effeminate in their mannerisms and their actions and extremely emotional. It seems as though really the gender roles have switched and we see a lot of masculine qualities in a lot of these women, and they really look down upon the average man nowadays, which, you know, is crazy to me because when I first started college, it was like this a little bit, but not the way it is now. It seems like this has really just turned up a whole level, and the majority of guys, you know, are either really skinny or they're extremely obese. There's no real in between. And the guys that are in between, you know, it's few and far in between. I've probably noticed maybe 3 or 4 of them when I go to the gym, and they're not even in tip-top shape. They're just a little bit buffer than skinnier, if that makes any sense. It looks like these guys just lifted a little bit of weights, they were skinny, and they put on just lean muscle mass a tiny bit. A tiny bit. It's not like these guys are shredded, okay? And I'm talking about, I've worked out with the athletes on campus, and I've worked out with just the regular dudes on campus. I don't know what happened, but it seems like just male testosterone is really on a decline. And unfortunately, a lot of guys walk around with this almost like doom and gloom and this depression cloud around them of just like, I don't know what it is, but you get that vibe of just like, no one's really happy anymore, all right? And it's really sad to see. It just seems like people aren't motivated. People are big as a house at 20 years old, 19 years old, 18 years old as a freshman, walking around campus already extremely obese, extremely underweight, you know, breaking out, not really taking care of themselves physically. And it's just really saddening to see, in my opinion. You really didn't see a lot of this even 5 years ago on campus, which is, it's crazy to me that how fast that this decay in American schools and just American youth is really picking up. And the fifth observation I've noticed on campus is the majority of people that go to the gym are men. It seems like a lot of women have decided to not go to the gym. And if they do go to the gym, they're just doing squats for maybe 30 minutes or so, maybe less than that, and then they dip out. But it seems like the majority of men, and it's not even a lot of men that are going to the gym, is the main gender that's focused on their fitness, staying in shape, building muscle, working out, and actually taking care of themselves. And this is understandable because if you think about it from a woman's perspective, which, you know, we can't wrap our minds around because we're constantly not having punani thrown at us, we can't really relate to this. But the average woman lives like a queen if you think about it, okay? She can look any sort of way, any sort of shape, any sort of size. She could be a rhinoceros, a buffalo. She doesn't have to work out. She doesn't have to worry about her food intake. All these different things that men have to worry about when it comes to fitness and health. But at the same time, no matter what she does, and even if she puts that to the side and doesn't work on those things, you know what? She's still going to have a phone full of penises, okay? A phone full of just eggplants flying in, receiving all this validation no matter what. She could be any shape, any size, never work out, never step foot in the gym, and there is a thirsty simp out there that is still willing to put it in, even if she barely takes care of her health and doesn't work out. So those are my observations just being back on campus for the first 2 weeks after taking a whole year off of school and not being on campus since the whole situation. So let me know what you guys think. If you're in college yourself, what college is like for you, all right? If you've noticed some of these similar things that have been happening, or if you're just a guy in your early 20s like myself, what have you noticed on campus? Can you relate to what I'm talking about? Because I feel like a lot of guys can relate to what I'm talking about right now. If you enjoyed this video and it relates to you, please share this content, because, you know, I feel like I'm looking out from the inside or the outside of this like, whoa, like what's going on? So I think there's other guys out there that can relate to this kind of stuff, and it's important that we talk about this stuff because my channel is directed towards guys my age and creating a community for guys my age, you know, to help us navigate through this crazy world, all this stuff that's going on around us. And it's important that we talk about these things and share our ideas in the comment section, and we collaborate and we stick together. See you guys next time. Have a blessed rest of your day. Peace. I'm gone. Have a good one.